What's happening, y'all? I am the Balkan Nostalgic, and this is SlickBlast RapCast. This should be an exciting one, as 30 years in the making, and this is a very special one, just because of the fact that Brad, my brother, what's going on, man? This is a special one because of the reason. Sandra, what's going on? This is a special one for the simple fact that one of two 93 to Infinity, to me, is in the holy trinity of historic hip-hop albums, and it belongs in the Mount Rushmore. So that's one of the two CDs I bought as a kid on my own. Had a little summer job, and it was a beautiful thing. It was just special, ahead of its time too. On top of that, sonically, you're talking ahead of its time. And again, I've been stressing this since the beginning, and a lot of people can agree. Hieroglyphics is the West Coast version of Wu-Tang Clan. So basically, you got Wu-Tang Clan. They're a superpower force in the East Coast. Then you got Hieroglyphics. They are the equivalent, a West Coast version of Wu-Tang to me. That's how powerful they are as a collective. And then their group of MCs on top of that. I mean, the list goes on and on, you know? So, but yeah, I'm pretty hyped to have on iconic producer Domino, who's produced for the Funky Homo Sapien, No Need for Alarm. He's done tracks for Casual. He's done tracks for Pep Love. A lot of the solo projects he's done for Hieroglyphics. And yeah, Brad, yeah, I'm totally disregarding that dude, man. Like, I don't know. I'm going to have to block that cat, actually. All Things Funky. DJ Daryl D, my brother. Happy New Year, man. DJ Text 1s and 2s. It's 8. Well, we're 3 minutes into the show, so I'm sure he'll you know, once he's ready, he'll get on. So 6:30 his time, and 8:30 my time. So yeah, again, this is a special iconic logo. As you can see, the wife had to bless me with the Hieroglyphics hat, and it was only right. Of course, Rubik's One, my brother, much love to you, man, as always. Shout out. Okay, then you got this bad boy. All right. So I know a lot of people have this one. All right. This is the disc drive. This is the USB of the documentary of basically Hieroglyphics. So, yeah. Yes. Yeah, Sandra, you've mentioned that before with the Hiero logo. And that's super cool, once again. So, I asked, here, I'm going to block. Definitely, GQ. I definitely will, man. Yeah, I'm going to block that homie Text 1s and 2s. I am right now, actually. I'm going to block him. Block. Boom. Block him. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka. Because that dude is out of control. Ugh. Man. I did. Thank you. I did. Yeah, because he's been like a freaking, you know, like lice in a kid's hair. Like in grade school, you know, this is like, ugh. So, I'm glad that's done with, and I'm gonna have Domino on and a few from Hieroglyphics. Yeah, so I have actually, tonight I have Domino, Legend. Tomorrow night I have Curious, the one and only Curious, one of MF Doom's closest friends, and I'm excited. So yeah, it's. I told you I was gonna come out with guns ablazing, metaphorically speaking. I was gonna come blazing. Sup, Scorpio, much love to you, man. 2022, I promised everybody that I was gonna go right from the jump. As soon as the year started, I was gonna start with these legends, and man, I'm excited about it. So yeah, tonight I got Hector. What's going on, man? Yeah, so tonight we have the legendary Domino, iconic producer of Hieroglyphics, and then tomorrow I have on Curious. All right, A Constipated Monkey, of course, was his debut and a classic album, and then oh my god, that Concrete album is amazing. Still waiting on the Curious CD. Yeah, man. And definitely, definitely prayers up for DJ K Slay um, as he's battling COVID. So many blessings. All right, Domino just messaged me. I'm ready, and cool. We are ready too. We are ready too. Domino actually just messaged me on my other page, so we're right on track. All right, it's a beautiful thing. It's only 6 minutes within start time, and I love that. And I love that he messaged me too. So that's cool. You know, because sometimes, you know, uh, sometimes Instagram can get lost in the sauce, and then things like that happen. But no, I'm excited. I also got some, some toy collabos coming up this year. I'm very excited about a lot of things going on for SlickBlast RapCast, and of course, me as an MC as well. I can't wait. A lot of things to announce, so I'm gonna little by little. I'm gonna spread it out. Just spread it out. I can't do it all at once. Then it takes the fun, out of that. So, definitely Curious did some stuff with the Beat Nuts for sure. That is an actual fact. Yep. So yeah, it's I'm very hyped and excited. I did ask Domino to send me a request because I'm still trying to get used to this Apple business, the iPhone situation stuff. Bam, there he is. Great minds think alike. As I'm mentioning it, he's on. And if you could please send a request, compadre Domino, that'll be a beautiful thing, and then we could get into this. Yes, he is. Told you, Sandra. Told you. It's gonna happen. Once again, Domino. Not to be confused with Domino from Ghetto Jam. This is the iconic producer of Hieroglyphics. How do I send a request? Okay, basically, actually, let me try to send you one, my brother, okay? As I'm adjusting to this. Bam. Okay, I got you. I just sent you an invite. Okay, I sent you an invite, okay, Domino? Yeah, because I'm still trying to adapt to the whole Apple, lifestyle, if you will. I've been an Android guy. Bam.
What's up?
What's up, my brother?
Oh, not much. Let me get in a good spot. I'm just like, it's dark in here.
No, definitely, man. We got to see your youthful mug, man.
Yeah, I
Hey,
don't know
man.
about youthful, but I don't know if you can call it that, but it's a
Take it
mug.
for
It's
what it is,
certainly a
man.
mug.
So first and foremost, man, I had a rep. As you can see, I had a rep. The wife got me this for Christmas, and then of course I had a rep.
Yeah, yeah.
And then with the sticker flavor that came with the hat.
Oh, okay, so
Uh,
you got it all. That's cool. Yeah, that hat is clean. I don't even have one of those. Oh, you even got the documentary, the Souls documentary, right?
yeah, man. So, man, this is special for me, man, because once again, I'm a Chicago kid, born and raised. As I mentioned to you off the live, that it was two CDs that I purchased on my own as a kid. When you make that summer camp money and it's exciting. Um, Souls of Mischief, 93 to Infinity,
Yeah.
and then Nazomatic were the first two CDs I ever purchased. And then from there on out, it was a wrap, man. That's, you
Wow.
know, 30 years now in the making. I'm speaking to the iconic producer of Hieroglyphics. So I want to welcome you to SlickBlast RapCast. First and foremost, my brother, Happy New Year to you.
Happy
And
New Year to you as well, man.
definitely, man. And
Yeah.
man, you know what? I'm gonna give you your flowers because you're physically here, and that's important nowadays. I truly feel that. Man, I'm giving you your flowers for everything that you have done for Hyro as a whole, and you as a producer, man, a special one. So thank you for making dopeness these 30 plus years, and not only on my behalf, but everybody that's on. We appreciate what you have done for the culture and universally, not just the West Coast. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. It's always good to talk about, what I've done, I guess, and
I
there's
love the
enough people
humility,
that
man.
appreciate it. So, that's always nice.
Absolutely. So I wanted to clarify this, man, because you know how it is, man. Everybody looks mixed nowadays. I'm Puerto Rican American, but I'm sure I got some other stuff mixed inside of there.
Hmm.
Um, so I was trying to figure out what is your ethnicity because you got like a mixed flavor, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to pinpoint, but I can't. So I wanted
It,
to
it,
officially.
You know, the funny thing is it depends where I'm at, right? You know, like when I'm in New York, people think I'm Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Like people think that I'm like, you know, mixed black and white or whatever. But I actually I have a bunch of things, but I'm Salvadorian. My father's from El Salvador, and
Love
so
it,
I'm
man.
Central American. My mom has some Mexican in her, and you know, I found out recently that some Irish as well. So I've slowly been. I'm kind of a mix, but the majority. My last name is Sigüenza. That's from my father, who was born in El Salvador, and
God
so
bless.
that's kind of when somebody asks me what I am, I generally say I'm Salvadoreño.
I like that, my brother. Yeah, because I knew there was a Latin twist with your last name, so I'm like, oh man, I gotta definitely peep that, and that's
Yeah,
cool. That's cool that you clarified that. It's funny, man. Real quick, before we get into this beautiful combo, um, my mom just did Ancestry, .com, and my wife got it for as a gift.
yeah.
You mentioning the Irish part, I guess my mom is 8% Irish. We were shocked. I'm like, so I'm gonna have to do this Ancestry thing. I'm curious now to see what's going on, man, because it's
Yo,
crazy.
like I have a, you know, I the
Crazy.
last couple of years, like that opened up a big can of worms for my mom. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
really to the point to where she found out that she had a different, you know, like my grandfather with my grandfather, like that type of heavy. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so I did for all these a lot of years. I thought I was a part Italian, and I, you know, I used to say that, you know, and turns out I wasn't. You know.
Wow.
You know, and
Okay.
so yeah, it was kind of like a big kind of, I'm one of the people that subscribes to who you are, and whatever, you
Yeah.
know, it's who you are inside, and you know, obviously you're going to be proud of your heritage, but like I didn't feel like it changed me any, that I didn't, you know, there was certain history that I thought I had that I didn't, you know, and so, you know, I didn't, you know, it affected my mom more because obviously, you know, when the person you think is your father isn't your father, like
Yeah.
that kind of, you know, that's heavy, you know, and so
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah,
very
so
heavy.
I'm all knowing about the, you know, the can of worms that the 20, you know, 4 and Me or whatever it's called, you know, opens up.
Yeah. Definitely, man. And I appreciate you sharing that story. And hopefully, your mom's feeling better nowadays about that, and she's made peace with it. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
blessings to her. But
yes,
yeah. So what I wanted to do, Domino, again, man. This is a special episode for me. A Chicago kid growing up, man. Just loving West Coast hip hop from the jump, and then just the production on your end, man. I mean, I want to know. I just want to know how this all started, of course, man. I want to know the foundation of Domino and before you even got with hieroglyphics. I know you did a little bit of emceeing, right? Before you started producing, I believe, right?
yeah, yeah. I started out MCing like in the probably early '80s, you know,
That's
yeah,
dope.
and you know, so I was MCing, you know, I guess I started probably around the time probably '83 or something, '84. I was like 13 or 12. I don't, you know,
Dope.
and then I did that for a while, and then I started and I started producing my, you know, I had a partner who I was working with, and a guy named Jason Melton. Shout out to Jason, but
Hey, shout out to Jason.
yeah, and so I started. I was rhyming, and I was also delving into production. And he was the one who was producing and DJing. And then, you know, I kind of started embracing producing a lot more. Like, you know, it just was. I wasn't really as into rapping as I was. I started to get into producing, and
Right.
then so like right around the time that I met Hyro, I was kind of like on still rapping a little, but not as much. I was probably 80%, 85% into producing, you know. And then once I met them, I realized that my production was on their level, my rapping certainly wasn't. And so that was kind of the final kind of disconnect from me being an MC, you know. And so that's when I totally was like, because I realized how incredible they were early on from the moment I met them, and then was like, I think my beats are on their level.
Yeah.
And and then Dante, you know, I may be getting ahead of the story, but because you may want to touch on this, but Dante Ross, who introduced me
I saw that. Yeah. Shout
to
out to him.
them,
Salute.
you know, for those who shout out to Dante, you know, he
Yes.
was A&R at Elektra and Tommy Boy before that. But, you know, when I met him, I was still kind of dabbling in rapping, and he was like, you know, your production's dope. He wasn't so as impressed about my, you know, my rapping. And so that kind of pushed me, you know, that helped me realize that where I was kind of heading already was the ultimate place I wanted to be. And so that's kind of how it happened.
And then before we close out the whole MC chapter, what was your name, Domino, at the time when you were emceeing? Did you give yourself a name at the time when you felt like it was, you know, you were gonna do that for a little bit before you got into the mecca of producing? What was your actual MC name? Was it still Domino?
Well, you know, when I began, it was Dirty D, which back in the day, dirty was like vicious. You know, you're dirty. That boy's dirty, you know.
Yeah, I like that. That's dope.
And
Dirty
so
D.
that was my first name. And then when I got into high school and I started rapping with a couple of my homeboys, they were like, nah, Dirty D ain't tight. And so, and then one of my homeboys gave me the name. He said, you're gonna be Domino D. And I wasn't like, yeah, you know, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. And then what happened was he started writing rhymes, putting the name in the rhymes, and then started calling me that, and other people started calling me that. And it was just like, oh, damn, I guess my name is Domino D. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't, you know, it wasn't really chosen. It was kind of like chosen for me. And then it just morphed into, well, I got to accept it because people were referencing that. And then ultimately I dropped the D at some point. I don't remember when, but you know, so that's kind of what happened.
That's super dope, man.
What up, Dante? Look like Dante's in the house. What's up?
Yeah.
Talking about you.
The legendary Dante Ross, man, he's done a lot for the culture as well. So thank you for rocking with us on SlickBlast RapCast. You already know who Domino is, of course. The iconic Domino. And yeah, man, I'm hyped about this, like I said. So I want to take it back. Let's go on the virtual DeLorean, as I like to say. I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I use that reference in every part of the episode. So I want to know, like, how you got with all of these cats, because to me, man, you've probably heard this many times, I'm sure, bro, in conversations, you know, whatever situation you were in or conversation. But for me, you know, hieroglyphics is not just a collective; they're a global force in hip hop, and they are in the West Coast what Wu-Tang is in the West Coast. That's how important you guys are. You globally, not just in the States. You're talking in the UK, Australia, somewhere in Alaska. The Eskimos had the Hyro, you know, was listening to, you know, 93 to Infinity while they were ice fishing. So that's the thing, man. How does that make you feel to be a part of something so unique and special and to still be relevant to this day? And it's almost like when you see that Hyro flag, man, if you're driving and somebody got a Hyro bumper sticker, or if you're at the store and somebody got a sweater or even a hat, you know that there's a significance of importance. Well, so how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel amazing. And I even got a funny story that happened today with my wife that kind of really shows how this is. She went to the dentist today. This is today, so it's kind of good timing.
Yeah.
And she had a Hyro sweatshirt on. And so the dental hygienist comes in and goes, oh, wow, I love your hoodie. I love Hyro, right? He goes, actually, I named my son Hyro. And he's 1 year old, and we love Hyro, and we love the name. And so, like, and that's like at least the second kid that I was named Hyro after us that I know. And so maybe there might be even one more, but I think there's three. But you know, like, that stuff is mad humbling. Like, not only that, and then like the tattoos, that all the Hyro logo tattoos. And I think that naming your kid, and you know, that transcends like the amount of hits you had. Like, it's not really about that. That's long lasting. That if somebody decides that they're going to put your logo that represents your band on their body permanently, that speaks beyond, hey, I like this group. You know, they have great songs. These people feel connected to your art. You know what I'm saying? The people that are naming their kids after you, they're connected to your art, not just, hey, I like that, they're good, it's good music I can dance to. Somehow they're connected to your art and they're connected to what it represents. And that man, I have no words for that, man, because in the beginning, all I ever wanted to do was say, hey, I want to make a legacy, right? I want to be able to make a mark in this game, so then once I'm gone, my kids have something to be proud of. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, like, man, like, like I said, I'm lost for words, like, because that is beyond like, hey, I'm a fan and I'm gonna buy a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Or I bought your record. You know, or it means a lot to me because I bought it when I was growing up. That's like next level dedication, and it just, you know, to be connected to the art that we produce that way is man, it's humbling to say the least.
Yeah, man, and I love the fact that your humility just speaks for itself, and it's dope that you're a humble guy. Obviously, man, just talking to you through the messages, very easygoing, and I think that's just a plus for hip hop OGs and legends like yourself, along with Hyro. That's super dope. Like A+ as well, man. I've been eventually he's gonna get on with me as well. He's been cool too. A+, I've been linking up with him for the last 3 weeks. Another great dude, and I feel like all of you guys are like that in real life, like naturally. You guys are just humble dudes, and I wish, man, I manifest and I pray that more OGs, legends, whether you're from New York, you know, if you've been doing this for a long time, you know, some of these guys got the, you know, prima donna mentality still, and it's like, nah, dude, you know, it's a togetherness, like you said. It's everything you were saying earlier validates the gratification and you appreciating it. No, I can see that. You know,
well, you know, like, I can only speak for myself. I mean, pretty much everyone in Hyrule is that way. I mean, we early on had a connection to our fan base, particularly once we got off the labels and went indie. You know, we were early on the internet, and so we were instantly connected to our fan base directly. You know, but I think that the difference is, for me personally, is I always reference myself like I was that fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, like, and I remember who was cool to me when I met them and who brushed me off. You know what I'm saying?
You'll never forget that. You'll never.
Well, the thing is, and here's the best way to put it: when someone's a fan of you, in that one little moment of interaction, like, I'm probably not gonna forget that moment. I'm probably gonna forget that moment as an artist, because they happen all the time. There's people all the time, particularly at shows and places of that nature, where they're like, "Hey, I'm a fan. I love you." Blah blah blah. And so you're gonna, you know, acknowledge that, and you're gonna move on. That person is gonna remember that moment, if they're a big fan of yours, forever. So if that moment is a diss, if you brush them off, they're going to be like, yeah, I remember I met Domino, he kind of dissed me. You know what I'm saying? Because that happened to me before with dudes that I looked up to hella and were like, yeah, you know what I mean? And then I also had moments with artists who I looked up to, and I was like 18 years old, you know what I mean? And they was hella cool with me. I'll tell a story. See, I got a PE hat. I used to work at a TV station. I interned at a TV station in San Francisco, and there was a show called Home Turf. And anybody that's local will remember this show. It was basically a show. It was hosted by the homegirl Dominique DePrima, and basically it was kind of like a show that came on Saturday, and it was a local show, and it was based around hip hop. It was based around the culture. So it has things on graffiti, things on slang, you know, all kinds of different things. But they used to show videos and have interviews. Well, I think one of the tours was in town. It was a Public Enemy tour, and so they came to the station to get interviewed. And so I'm like, at this point, this is like '88, so like I'm like, you know, the biggest PE fan there, you know, and so they come, and then we're in the lobby, and I have a camera, right? And I said, you know, so Flavor Flav, I see him, and I'm like, hey man, can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah, right? Well, the moment that he says that, Stetsasonic gets off the elevator, And then he
Wow.
goes, he sees Delight from Stetson Sound. He goes, "Oh, Delight." And he walks away from me, you know what I'm saying? And to go, you know, say what up to his, you know, his peoples. And
Yeah.
I kind of dropped my head like, oh, there was my chance, you know? And so
Yeah.
I'm kind of just standing there just thinking, well, there was my chance. And then about 10, 15 seconds later, he turns around and he goes, "Hey, yo, G, you still want that picture?" And then we went and I took the picture. Now here I am, you know, that was 88. So how long, how many, you know, what was that, 30 years ago,
30 years
34
ago. Yeah.
years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And that's still fresh in my mind and my interaction with Flav. Chuck D took a picture, like, you know what I mean? And so that stuff, I can guarantee you Flavor doesn't remember that moment, but I
Right.
do. And that's the
Right.
point of when you are interacting with people that look up to you, to give them that moment, because it ain't no sweat off you to
That's
be
right.
cool for 2 seconds. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
And that's because for something that's going to last a lifetime to somebody who's a fan.
Well, I love the story, man. That's a dope story of with a Public Enemy, and they're still here with us. So that's a beautiful thing, and that's dope that you got to meet them both, like in the physical. That's important, you know, very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I wish I had that picture still though.
I know, especially with all the technology now, right? Back then it was
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
different. So,
Yeah. It was different.
right. This is another thing I wanted to know, man. So creating this freaking classic 93 to Infinity, man. Can you take me back to that just situation where how did you and the guys link up together? Did you guys grow up in the same neighborhood, or did you guys go to school together? How did that come about with you and the guys?
Well, it's fitting that Dante's in here because basically I met them through Dante Ross. And
Wow.
so I used to, a lot of people know this story, but I used to rent the studio apartment in the back of a record store called Groove Merch 90. This At this
Groove Merchant, is it?
point, this was like one of the earliest record stores that exclusively focused on what we were sampling. So it was like soul, funk mostly, in jazz in this store. And so a
Ooh.
lot of people were coming in there that were industry, or like I know Pete Rock was in there,
Ooh.
and a bunch of other people were in there at different times. I remember Pharoah Monch being in there. And so there was a bunch of people. And so Dante was in there one time, and I guess he was talking to the owner, and he mentioned, "Oh, the guy in the back, you know, he makes beats or whatever." And, you know, I'm sure Dante was like, yeah, whatever. Well, anyway, I came out and we started getting into a conversation, and we realized that we had a lot in common as far as the records that we liked. In particular, the Nightlighters is the one we always talk about that we connected on, because he used it for Brand Nubian. And so we connected on the Nightlighters, and we forged a friendship. And now Dante, and so at the time there was a convention called the Gavin Convention that would bring the industry into the Bay Area. And Dante used to come for that. And also his dad lived in the city. And so he would come frequently. And then we just started forging more and more of a friendship. And at some point, I played him some beats, and he dug, you know, what he was hearing. And he goes,
Yeah.
"Hey, you know what? I just signed." And I'm not sure how long we had known each other or how many times we had hooked up to the point that this came about, probably 3 or 4 times. But
Okay.
he basically was like, "I just signed Ice Cube's cousin out of Oakland. He has a whole crew of dudes. You should hook
Ooh.
up with them. You guys could do something, they could, they need, your beats would go good with them." Right.
Yeah.
And so he told, Dell about me. And then somehow we got, I called Dell one time, and then basically we agreed to meet, and him and A Plus took BART, which is kind of like the local, train that runs through Oakland and San Francisco and throughout the Bay Area. They took it down. I picked them up. They came to my house. We were, hanging out, and I played them beats, and they rapped, and basically that begun, obviously that kind of begun the friendship. And then I ended up going to Oakland and hooking up with the rest of the guys, and
Man.
played beats for them. And that's kind of how it all transpired.
Wow, man. Again, man, it's like it's almost like Voltron, man. You guys are the West Coast version of Voltron, just the way you guys aligned and the way your flavor and their flavor just blended in naturally, man. I mean, that's not always the case all the time. And I think that you guys just made it work, and it became a phenomenon, man. It became a phenomenon.
Well, I think we all had a similar aesthetic of how we felt about hip hop. You know, I think that we, you know, deep love for hip hop, and you know, they were as excited every day about it as I was, and that's why I felt like I met people that were like my kindred spirits. You know what I mean? Like, man, they
Yeah.
feel about this. You know, they feel the same way about Brother Jay that I do, and they feel the same way about, you know what I mean? So it was like, you know, it was like us, you know, we all connected that way because the hip hop connected us, not just the beats that I was playing, but also just our love for the music in general. You know, I remember that first day hanging out with A Plus and Dell, and we were we went on after we left our house, we took a trek on the bus, and we were listening to De La Soul is Dead, and you know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? And so like it was all this connection, and that's how you bond with people, you know. And so I think that that's why the you know, it works so well.
Whew. And again, man, I still have the original CD that I purchased when I was freaking, what, 14 years old it was, or 13, of, 93 to Infinity. So a little scratched up, of course, the case, but the CD's still good. That track, I Call Myself the Man, how in the end it goes, suckers, and then it goes, now this is how we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is how we do. And I know you produced that, because I'm that nerd that literally, even as a shorty, I would look at all the credits and the production and the samples, and this is how we do, produced by Domino. So I'm like, man. And my cousin and I, when we were watching MTV Raps, and Rap City, that era, of course, that everybody was blessed to see. Hey, my man Domino, yeah, he's chilling. And I see you in the background in the cut. I'm like, my cousin's like, yeah, that's the guy. He's one of the producers. And just observing, these things. And then it's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
30 years in the making, man. It's still, it's amazing, man. Again, it's you guys deserve a lot of love and a lot of flowers, man. Because again, it's very rare to have a collective of like-minded MCs and producers and just good humans to make this beautiful music that still transcends 30 years later, and it's impressive. So it's crazy, you know.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt, definitely. And all right, so as I do with every guest, Domino, it's only right I gotta bless you in as well. It's DOA top three. So dead or alive, it can be a producer, it can be an MC, it can be a composer, it can be any element of the five elements, okay?
Okay.
That you haven't worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Who would Domino of Hieroglyphics work with if they asked them in like 2 weeks, hey man, let's do a little project or an album, I want you to produce this for this so and so. You could take your time, because sometimes it's a little tricky, right? Because there's so many greats, right? They were inspired, but that you were inspired by, and likewise. So any three that stand out in your mind that you would jump on it quickly, that you
To
have.
work, you saying to work with?
Yeah, to work with, dead or alive. They can be currently still here physically, or obviously in hip hop heaven.
I'm gonna leave it away from people that are dead, because like they're natural to choose, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't hear no more music from them, and so
Okay. I
I'll
like that.
focus on the people that are here, because that could actually happen.
I
So
like that.
let's
Okay.
put
I
it in
like
the
that.
universe of what can actually happen.
Manifestation.
Yeah,
Correct.
right,
I,
exactly.
I like it. Okay.
I
That
mean,
sounds.
number one for me is it will always be Rakim, because I think he's the true GOAT in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and so he would certainly be the one that I would probably most want to work with.
Ooh, man,
Um,
that's a great choice, man. You can't go wrong with that one.
I mean, I think that basically his rhyme styles are still on par with anyone today, and I think that's key, right? And so, I think that he's the father of most of the great MCs that follow him. And so I would go rock him first.
I love that.
Other MCs, let's see. You know, that's tough.
I know, man. There's a lot of them that we can name from the '90s. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do that'll be my '80s MC. For the '90s, I'd say let's say Redman.
Whew, yeah,
Um,
in my top 10 locked in still to this day.
yeah, Redman from and then
Great
from
choice.
from after that, I would let's just say somebody now. Probably Kendrick now. I think
Okay.
Kendrick would be. He's the one who I think is one of my favorites that's around now.
That's interesting. I
So
like
that'd probably be my three that I would, I guess, my wish list, or the three that I would most want to work with. So we'll say Rakim from the '80s, Redman from the '90s, and then after that, Kendrick.
I love it, man. There's this I've been doing it for 23 episodes. Well, 23 episodes. It's called Hip Hop Mix and Match. So it's like a fantasy football of kind of what we just did right now with your choices.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you mention Rakim, man, I'm already picturing out like produced by Domino and other fellow hieroglyphics producers. It'll be called like Rakim Glyphics or something like that. I don't know, man. Something crazy like that, man. Yeah, hip hop mix and match, man. We go.
I mean,
wild.
there is some parallel between hieroglyphics and and a lot of the math. You know what I'm saying? And so there's definitely some symmetry there.
Definitely. And I also wanted to ask you, from all the guys in the crew, man, all the guys that the brotherhood that you guys have established throughout these years, and rightfully so. Who would you say, man, like individually from all the guys in Hyro and even including yourself, like who do you see as the jokester, like the jokester of the group that was like goofy and always cracking jokes? Because for me it was almost it's kind of hard to know who that would be because I feel like you guys are all it's like, man, who would be the guy that's cracking jokes and like that kind of guy? There's always one in the group, right? Everybody always has that one guy.
It's probably Casual or Tajay are the ones who were most kind of like playful, joking, kind of capping on you, bagging on you. You know what I mean? Like that's probably, Casual makes me laugh probably the most. Because
Yeah.
that's on the road because he has an interesting kind of perspective on things. And so yeah, I'd say probably Casual. I mean, we're not like the most kind of like you know. Joking, we play around, but I don't think we have like anyone who's a super kind of class clown type of person. But
Right.
Casual's the one who probably makes me laugh more than anybody.
I love it, man. I love it, and that's a cool thing. You guys are very laid back, of course. So you were born and raised in the Bay Area, correct? Was it Oakland as well?
No, I was born and raised in San Francisco.
Okay.
So that's the one thing that differs between me and the rest of the crew. They're all from Oakland, or majority of them are from Oakland. Pep is from Mississippi originally, so he's the one
Really?
Pep Love is from Mississippi originally, Jackson. And then, but yeah, I'm the only one that besides Pep that's not from Oakland.
Oh, that's it. That's super dope. So you guys you meshed well naturally, regardless of what town you were from. And Oakland is probably from San Francisco driving distance. Is that about an hour or is it?
It's not even that. It's like right across the bridge. So it's like, if there's no traffic, you can get there in 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It's just right across the bridge.
Love it. It's down the block. And I wanted to ask, man, so when you did Casual's album, his debut, Fear Itself, I mean, how long did that album take? Because that's one thing I've noticed throughout the years being a fan of you guys. In essence, I feel like there was always a consistency when you produced, and you guys, it was a nice. It's almost like when you're producing beer in a brewery, and then you got all the beers consistently flowing. There was never a stoppage or a leakage. It was always like boom, 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 boom. So Fear Itself, that one in particular, because that was a big deal when Casual came out, on his solo stuff. Mm-hmm. And was that a long process making that album in particular, or was it like the other albums where it was just a nice? It had its time frame.
Well, I guess. Well, there's two ways to look at it, right? Most of the songs that were on the record, and this goes. Well, let me just say this: The symmetry that you speak of between 93 Till Infinity, Fear Itself, and No Need for Alarm, which is Dell's second record, is the fact that they were all done at the same time.
Right.
You know, and so the demoing aside, right? Because a lot of those songs were demoed months, if not years, before the record started. But the actual creation in the studio was done all at once. And so I've said this before, and I liken it to, for those of y'all that know about jazz records or know about records,
Yes.
CTI was one of our favorite, one of my favorite labels. And it's not just CTI, but I just used to recall that Creed Taylor, that particular label used to put out a record by Bob James, and it would have George Benson on guitar, and it would have Hubert Laws on flute, and it would have Idris Muhammad on drums, right? And then they do an Idris Muhammad record, and it would have Bob James on keyboard, Hubert Laws on flute, and George Benson, you know what I mean? And so and then they did a George Benson record and have the same player. And so that's what I liken to these three records, is that they were done at the same time. And so we were all there together. And one was just, this is a Souls of Mischief record. And then this is this is a Kazaa record. This is a Dell record. And so there was one leader, but as far as the creation, it was all the same people at the same time. And in some ways, even the same days, we were doing songs we would do. Well, for instance, the first studio session was Dell's, right? He did the lockout. He locked out the Hyde Street Studios, 24-hour lockouts. He was doing and at the same time, the Souls and Casual had signed their deals, but they were held up because Tajay and Casual weren't 21. And so their quarterbacks, their contracts had to be approved. Or maybe it was 18. They weren't 18 yet. It wasn't even 21. They weren't 18 yet. And so the contracts had to be approved by the court. And so that was holding up theirs. So Dell starts No Need for Alarm. He does about 10 songs, and then sends a tape to Ice Cube and Street Knowledge, who they were behind, they were basically his production company. Yeah. Cube doesn't like any of it. And so they put a halt on the studio, right? Well, it's a lockout. So they basically, that studio's paid for. And so what ends up happening is we were like, fuck waiting. Let's go in and start doing the soul stuff and the casual stuff. And once the contracts get cleared, then we'll just pay back Dell for this time. And so that's what ended up happening, is that Dell was on a freeze. And so then we started doing Fear Itself songs and 93 Till Infinity songs. And then Dell ended up starting again. And we were all kind of in and out of that studio at the exact same time. And we had the same engineer for it all. And so that's the symmetry was based upon that. The base that they were all done at the same time with all the same people involved.
Damn. But just the fact that you guys did those three in 1 year, that's freaking impressive, man. That's impressive.
Well, the thing is, though, is that you also got to keep in mind, though, is like Casual's album was pushed back. And so that didn't come out. By the time that Casuals came out, which came out in 94, songs were old. And I think that kind of hurt it from my standpoint, because it should have came out like right at the same time that Dell and Souls' records came out, because that was, was more in that movement. And so by the time that Casuals came out, it was almost like it wasn't, that synergy that we're talking about wasn't kind of that way for fans, where they got that sound 6 months later, as opposed to getting it when all the other ones were dropping. That would have been a more effective, kind of rollout. But as far as the sound of the record, you can keep in mind that they were done pretty much at the same time, give or take a few songs. Like Boo Boo Heads was done later.
That's a classic, Boo Boo Heads.
Yeah, Dante, shout out to Dante again, who him and the SDs produced that. And because we felt like he needed some stronger songs with better hooks. And so that was one of the ones that came out of that was done a little bit later. That was done in New York. I think Casual has a couple of songs that we did with Dante also that in New York. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, there were some that kind of like weren't in that same time, but the majority, 90% of those songs are all done within the same period.
Wow. Again, man, that's amazing, man. It's amazing, just the energy that you guys shared together, and still to this day, you still have that natural energy, even to this day in the present time. And then I want to dive into the Third Eye, the Third Eye Vision album with the dope cover with the pyramid, man. That was another monumental album, man. I mean, that was like, okay, we're still here, and we're one of the best. So I want to send people on notice. And that was another classic album, man. That's one thing I was curious about, because you're noticing a lot of groups from the 90s and MCs and collectives, if you will, are kind of doing their re-releasing their album, right? That came out in 93 and 94. Do you guys feel the need to do that? Like maybe come out with like extra songs that you guys never released from back in the day? Just out of curiosity, have you guys been ever thought about that, or you guys kind of want to leave it?
They've all been released in one way or another. Like there was a cassette series we released in maybe 97 or 96, which was called Hyro Oldies, which basically was, you know, a fan called me one time and was like, you know, I know you guys have hell of, you know, he was kind of a fan, but I knew him kind of. And he was like, I know you have all kinds of released stuff, unreleased stuff. Can you compile a cassette for me so I can have some of this stuff? And so he was like a friend of mine, I remember. And so I did, right? And so I sent him this tape, and then I made a copy for myself, and I was like listening to it. I go, man, this is a dope ass cassette. Like, you should release this shit. And so at the same time, we're transitioning to being independent, and so we're trying to generate money. We're selling stuff online on hieroglyphics.com. And so I think it was Tajay. I think I played it for Tajay, and he goes, man, we should put this out. That's what he said. And so we manufactured it, made like a little label, and then put it out. And it was one of the early cassettes that we were selling on hieroglyphics.com. And it was basically all kinds of unreleased stuff. Some of the stuff, a lot of it was just demo stuff, but there were a few like there were a few songs that were like from those records that didn't make the cut. You know, Cab Fair was leaked out there. That was a song that didn't make the record.
A gem of a song.
You know, I think we also put a few things on B-sides. I think there was a song called Break a Leg that I think we put with Soul Song that I think is on the B-sides from one of them. And there's some others, but for the most part, they all have kind of come out one way or the other. There's not too much like left over. There's a few, there's probably a few things, but probably most of it is like unfinished stuff or stuff that we didn't feel was, you know, up to par or whatever. But the majority of the stuff from those records has come out in some way or another.
That's super dope, man. And this is one thing I have to mention, because I've been excited to mention this part. I'm a big toy collector when it comes to hip hop memorabilia. I just to kind of pay homage to some of the MCs I grew up hearing, and just crews, or I'm trying to get toys going to pay homage, and just kind of, I think it's dope. I think, man, I could just see you guys like Hieroglyphics action figures, man. I mean, to manifest that, like, I don't know, like Super 7 in San Francisco, they're huge now. I don't know, man. I think that you guys it would be super cool to have you guys as action figures. You know, Run DMC has them now. Tupac and Biggie, I feel like that's been a thing for a long time. But I think what I'm saying is, I think it's fair for everybody that's been a part of this culture. Like, you guys have done so much for the culture. I think you guys deserve your own action figures, man.
I'm always down for that, man. You know,
yeah,
I never thought about like, you know, that, but I would like to have my own action figure just to show my kids, like, look, this is me. This is Daddy.
Right.
You know,
I'm a beat.
Exactly.
I love it. And oh, so you have a family. So you have a family. How many kids do you have?
I have two. I have 9-year-old twins, a boy
Wow,
and a girl.
that is so dope.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very cool. Very cool. And
Yeah.
I noticed you mentioned quarter. Are you a big sports head? Because when you mentioned quarterback in the contract
Yeah.
part, I was like, I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
he's got to be a
Yeah.
sports head.
I'm a big sports fan. Yeah. I'm really into football, hell of, but like I'm a sports guy for sure.
I
You know,
love it.
that's
Yeah.
one of the things that I don't have in common with a lot of guys in Hyrule. Majority of them are not super into sports. Festo's probably like the only one who's like hella into sports like me. Everyone else is kind of like, dabble, they'll watch, but they're not like, but like me and Festo are like the sports guys in Hyrule.
I love that. Yeah, I felt something when you mentioned the quarterback reference. I was like, I gotta ask him because I too am a hardcore sports fan, man. Especially the NFL and the NBA. I'm all up in it, man. It's always been like that since I was young. So it's stuck with me, you know.
Yep, yep, yeah, I'm definitely ahead.
Yeah, and again, man, for the people that don't have this, this is truly a visual gem, not just a physical gem. But please get this because it has a lot of great footage of hieroglyphics and shows. It's a nice documentary, and I think it's just something that you should have if you are a true Hyro fan. I mean, and I know I believe it's still available.
Yeah, it's a doc that's, if you're till infinity is what it's called, if you're interested in a lot of the stories behind the making of that record, it's about Hyro in general, but it's more focused around the making of 93 till infinity. And so if you're interested in peeping like little behind the scenes stories about particular songs, check that out because it definitely there's a lot of that.
Definitely. And I want to apologize. Instagram, for some reason, is not allowing like the comments to flow through as they were earlier. There was
Yeah,
flowing like spring water. For some reason, it got stuck. So I apologize for anybody that did have questions for Domino, because typically I like to, involve the watchers as well because they support.
I would
So
like that.
yeah.
I wonder if there's any. Let me see.
Let me see what you got. Yeah.
Super fresh now, maybe.
Okay,
Now
yeah.
the
Maybe.
last I see is hieroglyphics for life from DJ Tech. Oh, what up, DJ Tech 1 and 2s?
Yes. Yeah. The homegirl. She's
Yeah,
she's a hardcore Hyro fan as well, and she
yeah,
has a tattoo actually
yeah,
of the Hyro logo.
yeah,
Super
yeah.
dope.
But yeah, that sucks that because I would like to give people the chance to ask their questions, but I don't know
Exactly.
if there's a way. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I don't
know,
know.
yeah, we still got some time. We got about 10 more minutes, but I want to make sure everybody gets their
You
I,
can you what if let's see, what if I log out and log back in, or what do you want to do? You want to try to do it or just talk?
no, let's keep it going because then this
Yeah,
might
let me
break.
comment and see. Maybe it'll let me see if I do something, maybe that'll make it show.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I got because I pinned Dante Ross and his
Yeah.
comment when he said Domino D just to show love, and then I'm trying to unpin it, and the damn thing's not letting me do it. I said unpin, and the damn thing ain't even going. So I'm like, man, Instagram, come on now.
Yeah, it looks like it's stuck. That sucks.
Okay, I got it. Oh, as soon as you said that, I got a question that popped out. So
Yeah, yeah, maybe it just isn't scrolling. Maybe people aren't just saying nothing right now. So
okay, so it says okay. That's
yeah,
and
so
that's a good
maybe
question.
go ahead.
Next Hyrule member project. That's a good question.
Let's see. I know that. Well, Dell and Kool Keith did something together, and the interesting part about this um, is Kool Keith did the production on majority of the record, and it
Oh,
isn't just rhyming. And so,
damn.
like they have a relationship, of course, and then I guess he sent Dell a bunch of beats, and Dell wrote to them, and so um, not I guess he did, and I've heard it,
Yeah.
and it's about to come out through Threshold Records Recordings, which is Cutmaster Kirk's label, which Keith has done a bunch of things through in the past. And so I just said, yeah, like, put it out. And so I know that it's about to drop fairly soon. I don't have the date in front of me, but I know that it's starting to, kind of come out little by little as far as, things that are available, some promos and whatnot. And so, yeah, I would say check that out, man, because, it's kind of it's not what you might expect production wise, and I think that's one of the good things about it. I
Yeah.
know I think there is a song with Dell, and I know and Keith Ryman, and then Little B's on the record. There's some other people, so
Oh, that's
yeah,
dope.
check it out.
Definitely looking forward to that one. And I love that you mentioned Cutmaster Kurt and you mentioned Cool Keith and Dell because the homie, we did a track together 2 years ago, Mocha Only. I know you're familiar with Mocha.
Yeah,
And
from Canada, right?
absolutely,
I
yeah,
think he's
exactly.
from Vancouver, maybe.
Yeah, Vancouver, you are
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
yeah, from Mocha. We met in the past. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's the homie, man. We've been pretty consistent, and he's been a good friend. He mentioned, well, I know he's done some songs with Dell as well and Cool Keith. Ironically, that you're mentioning that, so I just thought I had to throw in the homie Mocha because it just made sense and it clicked when you mentioned Threshold Recordings and then you said Come Master Kirk because I know Mocha and him also did a project together.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Mocha for sure.
yeah, shout out to Mocha. Man, this has been dope, man. Chopping it up with you and Domino, man. You're more than welcome anytime to be on. And I do want to invite you, as I've done with everybody else, man. I think it's only right to invite you when the time is right and you're free. So again, the Hip Hop Mix and Match. It's a part of the podcast, and it's a special part of the podcast because you basically create. It's like fantasy football
Hmm.
of hip hop. So Domino creates his own list of 10. You,
Hmm.
like for example, you can go Dell.
Hmm.
You can go Dell and Slim Kid of the Far Side, fully produced by Domino. Then you could go, Danny Automator and Cool Keith featuring Mos Def. And
Hmm.
just an example. I just would love to pick your brain on your list of 10 when the opportunities presented and we're naturally ready. It'll be cool, man, just to have you and an A plus on, and I can have one of my guys on. He's one of the regulars on Mix and Match. It'll be fun, man. I mean, it'll be dope.
Yeah, just send me a message. I'm down. If I'm free, I'm down to jump on with you again for sure.
That sounds good, man. And Domino, before we bounce out, we got 4 minutes, man. As always, man, I like to, it's important for you also to. Is there anybody right now? It could be anybody, family, of course. Hyro. Anybody special right now that you would like to shout out that maybe you haven't seen in a long time, or like maybe somebody that you wanted to, check up on. Is there anybody special in your life that you want to give a shout out to on a Slick Blast?
Um, yeah, I always shout out to the Hyro crew, but that they're just a phone call away. So, we haven't hung out as much because of the pandemic, of course, but
Right.
always shout out to my crew. Shout out to my man Dante if he's still on. We need to link up. He's down in LA right now, and we usually see each other a little bit more than we have been.
Okay.
But I haven't made it down there, and you know, just shout out good health to everybody, man. Stay safe, and one love to everybody that's still to this day supporting us. It's not taken for granted, and hopefully we'll be able to bless you with more stuff in the near future. But I appreciate everyone who's still supports us and buys merchandise and buys our music and comes to shows when we do them and names their kids after us. Shout out to the homegirl who named her I should because my wife told me, but shout out to the dental hygienist who named her 1-year-old is named Hyro. Much love.
I
That
love that.
means a lot.
That's dope, man. I love it. And real quick, I had Rubik's One, the homie. He had a question for you, and I apologize. I just got the question now. We have a couple
No
minutes.
problem. I got a few more minutes.
I appreciate that. Rubik's One said, who would be in 2022? Who would be somebody that Domino would want to work with? Currently. That looks like that was his question. Yeah.
Other than I said Kendrick already. Let's think. Let's see. Let me think of somebody who's like newer.
Right.
Probably Cordae.
Yep. That's a good pick.
He's dope. I really
He is
like
dope.
him.
He's dope. Yeah, he gets it. He's definitely a student of the old school, and he does it. He's repping it the right way. So
yeah, and so that'd probably be the one dude who I listen to now. Other than like Benny the Butcher and all these cats, like they're all dope and but I think they're similar, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
I could say a lot of them, but I think Cordae would be my choice for who's the new cat.
I like that. Yeah, that's that. He's a talented MC, man, and he's doing it the right way. He's repping the culture correctly, the boom bap era. And Sandra DJ texted the last question. Sandra DJ text ones and twos. She wanted to know, and that's a good one because I want to know as well, and I'm sure everybody that's on. Will there be? I know with COVID and all this stuff, man, it's tough to answer, but God willing, will there be a Hyro 2022 this upcoming year once things hopefully calm down, and or is that still
Like a tour?
like you know when they got Hyro Day, is it right? Every
Oh,
year?
a Hyrule Day. You know,
Yeah,
it's too early to say, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, like especially as things are getting, you know, not getting better, unfortunately.
right.
You
Yeah,
know, like it's too early to say. I'd say that, you know, unless things, start improving, probably not. But, you know, we're hoping, you know, because you know, I'm sure we'll have some aspect of something, but I doubt that it'll be in person if the pandemic doesn't, you know, we keep on falling a little bit back, you know. But
correct.
we'll present something at some point, you know.
That's dope. Yeah, and that's a great answer, and that's a fair answer, I think, because we all don't know. We're just praying for the best, obviously, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Will you be able to do that road trip again soon, hopefully?
man, I'm hoping so, and that'll give me an excuse to go back and visit my wife's family in California. So may take a little drive.
You got a built-in excuse.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Yeah, word
Hey,
up.
so Domino, man, once again, man, you're just a cool dude, man. I appreciate your energy and just your humbleness overall. Again, man, man, God bless you and your family, and I appreciate you being on with me. Once again, this is a true honor, and I'm glad we finally got to link up, man, and share some good stories, and of course, your history with Hyro. Thank you again, man, for being a gentleman, and we got to do this again soon, man. We'll definitely link up for that mix and match. I'll let you know.
Whenever you're ready, man, we'll do it.
That's
Peace, y'all. Peace to everybody, man. Have a good night.
all right, brother.
All
Bless
right.
up, man.
Later.
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 Peace.
Peace.
All right. All right. All right, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Super cool dude, real nice guy. And I apologize. I got to answer 3 of the questions, Rubik's one, Sandra, and yeah, sorry I couldn't get everybody's questions because sometimes Instagram gets a little funky. But for the most part, I'm glad that it worked out the way it did in terms of the convo. And man, thank you, Domino, once again, the iconic producer of Hieroglyphics. Long live Hieroglyphics. Again, I mean, literally 93 to infinity. So this is still special and resonates to this day. So tomorrow evening, I will have special guest Curious George, one of MF Doom's best friends and a dope MC. He's been doing this thing for a long time. I'll have him on tomorrow evening. Once again, I want to thank my special guest, Domino of Hieroglyphics. And the man has been a part of a lot of historic albums and responsible for a lot of classic Hyro albums. All right. I'll be posting this in a few minutes. And once again, everybody that's been rocking with me since the beginning, it doesn't go unnoticed. And I do my best, obviously, to answer everybody's questions when I have a guest on, and I'll do better as we progress. All right. So, man, great health, as always, to everybody. Be happy, smile, say I love you to your family and friends. And man, this has been another dope episode of SlickBlast RapCast. I am the Bald Nostalgic, and I'll see y'all tomorrow evening with Curious. All right? Much love. Peace.